The road is quiet in the early hours before dawn. A single armored truck moves along a rural Brazilian highway. The landscape is open and flat, with only faint lights far away. To the drivers, this route is familiar and predictable. They've driven it countless times without incident. But this morning, something feels different. Just beyond the tree line, hidden in tall brush, several men wait. They've been in position for hours, unmoving and disciplined. A buried explosive sits beneath the asphalt, wired to a detonator. A gloved hand grips the trigger, waiting for the signal. The ambush is ready. All they need now is the target. It was supposed to be a routine cash transfer, but within minutes, this highway would become a war zone. Brazil moves money differently than many countries. Large parts of the economy still rely heavily on physical cash. That means armored trucks remain essential for daily operations, especially in interior regions where digital payments lag behind. These trucks travel hundreds of kilometers between destinations. Much of that distance runs through isolated rural terrain. Police presence along these roads is thin and inconsistent. Response times can take 20 to 40 minutes, sometimes longer. For organized criminal groups, this creates opportunity. Over the last decade, a method called Novo Cangaço has grown. Inspired by historic bandits, modern crews use military tactics. They strike fast, often at night or before dawn. Targets include small-town banks, cash machines, and armored trucks. These attacks often overwhelm local police instantly. Some towns have been locked down for hours during robberies. The aftermath can resemble the debris of a small battlefield. This ambush followed the same strategy. Planning began weeks before the first explosive was placed. Surveillance teams tracked the truck's schedule closely. They drove the route repeatedly, noting speed and timing. A second group mapped hidden access roads and dirt paths leading away from the highway. These routes offered cover, quick turns, and multiple exits if police responded faster than expected. They marked areas where phone signals dropped. They noted where the terrain dipped low enough to hide vehicles. They studied when traffic naturally thinned during pre-dawn hours. The attackers weren't many, 8 to 10 men, but they were coordinated. Each had a specific role, and each knew what to do if the plan shifted. One spotter waited kilometers ahead of the armored truck, blending into the sparse early morning traffic. He passed short updates through a simple radio system designed to avoid interception. Behind him, a command vehicle held drilling equipment, reinforced bags, scanners, and a second driver ready to move the team if the operation went wrong. Farther off the highway, hidden under camouflage netting, 2 SUVs sat with their engines cold and their escape routes pre-mapped. The terrain was dry and open, giving the attackers several ways to disappear into back roads before police could arrive. Every detail of the plan had been rehearsed. All that remained was execution. As dawn approached, the armored truck left its depot right on schedule. Its escort vehicle followed behind, but gradually drifted back as the road opened into long, empty stretches of countryside. Whether the separation was engineered by the attackers or simply taken advantage of remains unclear, but it left the truck exposed at the worst possible moment. The attackers had chosen their ambush point with precision. There were no nearby towns, no side roads, and no cell coverage strong enough to guarantee a quick call for help. A small obstruction had been placed on the highway hours earlier, just enough to force the truck to slow down, not enough to look suspicious in the dark. The buried explosive was positioned exactly where the truck's weight would shift forward under braking. A soft click sounded in the spotter's radio as he whispered, "Target approaching, 30 seconds." The armored truck rolled through the curve, the roadblock came into view, and the driver eased off the throttle. The highway fell silent. Inside the cabin, the guards barely had time to react before the first shock hit. A blast tore through the front axle, jolting the truck violently to one side. The tires shredded. Dust and smoke swallowed the windshield. They didn't know yet whether it was an accident or the beginning of something else. Seconds later, silhouettes emerged through the haze. Masked men approached from both sides, silent, coordinated, moving with practiced discipline. Their goal wasn't to kill, it was to control the scene. The guards inside were pinned down by the chaos outside. Visibility was low, the air was thick with dust. At the rear of the truck, a drill roared to life. It was industrial, heavy-duty, capable of cutting through reinforced plating in minutes. Sparks hissed as metal buckled under pressure. Bags were opened. Stacks of cash were pulled out with mechanical efficiency. Every movement had been rehearsed. But the plan wasn't designed for time. It was designed for speed. Down the road, a vehicle approached. 2 civilians, early commuters or farm workers, people with no role in the operation, but suddenly close enough to become witnesses. The attackers didn't hesitate. The breach team zipped the bags they had. A third duffel was only half filled. Orders were passed sharply and quietly. Time was up. The retreat began. As the attackers moved back toward the SUVs, a second explosion detonated, not aimed at the truck, but set on the road behind it to delay anyone who might try to follow. It bought them seconds, maybe minutes, but that was all they needed. Engines roared to life. Several SUVs burst from the brush, speeding down dirt paths that had been mapped days earlier. These tracks twisted into open terrain, crossed dry channels, and vanished into areas where tire marks faded quickly in the wind. One SUV was later found torched on a rural road, license plates stripped, frame barely intact. The others were never recovered. By the time police arrived, the ambush site had already gone cold. Investigators found dozens of shell casings along the roadside, most from high-caliber rifles, often used in previous Novo Cangaço operations. Ballistic patterns matched weapons linked to attacks hundreds of kilometers away, suggesting a mobile and well-organized group. Inside the armored truck, forensic teams documented the damage. The vault compartment showed signs of industrial drilling, thermal residue, metal fragments, and a partially cut plate. A single duffel bag remained, empty. Explosive residue on the asphalt indicated the use of an emulsified mining compound, common in rural Brazil and frequently stolen from remote work sites. The attackers left no fingerprints, no DNA, no identifiable vehicle markers, no digital trace. It was a clean operation, and that was the most troubling part. What happened on that stretch of highway wasn't an isolated crime. It was part of a larger pattern. Novo Cangaço attacks have become faster, more violent, and more coordinated across Brazil's interior. Some groups bring heavy machinery, others lock down entire towns. Many vanish before police even arrive. Armored truck companies have responded by reinforcing vehicles, improving radio encryption, altering routes, and lobbying for expanded aerial support. But out on the ground, especially in isolated rural zones, the attackers still have the advantage. They choose where to strike, they choose when, and they disappear into the land before anyone can respond. For the guards who survived, the memory remains sharp. A normal drive, a familiar route, and then, in an instant, a highway turned into a battleground. The asphalt has been repaired, the debris is gone, but the impact lingers. Because on that quiet road, like so many others, what starts as a routine drive can become a war zone. And the men behind attacks like this often vanish without a trace.